Hi, this is Jonathan Smoke. I'm the Executive Director of Hanleywood Market Intelligence, and I'm here to introduce this next session on the state of the construction market. I'm sure everybody's going to stop in the entire convention center to find out what we're thinking is happening in 2012. I'm joined today by somebody that I'm very proud to share the stage with, Kermit Baker from the Harvard Joint Center of Housing Studies, who is also the chief economist for the AIA. And we thought we'd just have a quick conversation about what we're seeing in the marketplace, what we're expecting. The good news I can share with all of you is that for the first time in a long time, myself and many economists and researchers in the industry are positive about 2012. The line that I've been using in doing events around the country is borrowed from the Beatles. We think it's getting better. It's getting a little better all the time, and certainly it can't get much worse. To borrow from John Lennon. But we do see performance improving in all aspects of residential, and that's primarily what I focus on, and Kermit will be able to add a bit more about commercial. But let me make a few points about what we are seeing. Number one, we started the year with optimism for the first time for many sectors that we thought remodeling activity, multifamily construction, and residential new construction were all going to be positive in 2012. And we create our forecast from the ground up, looking at activity in individual markets. And we did find and are seeing that activity is living up to our initial forecast. And in fact, we've upwardly revised our forecast in the last month. So 2012 is actually off to a good start. Home builders around the country are expressing that this spring selling season has been one of the best selling seasons they've had in at least the last 3 to 4 years. I'm encouraged that in places that you wouldn't believe, like Phoenix, Arizona, that multiple builders are reporting that already in 2012 they've sold more homes than they did of all of 2011 combined. So we're definitely seeing traction. Why this is happening? Well, first of all, we started to see last year that multifamily was really starting to rebound. It was being driven by rent increases that were, directly correlated to the declining homeownership rate as a result of the foreclosure crisis. That spurred economic activity, and that's part of the reason why we've seen some gains in the unemployment rate, and that's driven some confidence with local consumers. Then you've had a pretty amazing turnaround in some of the hardest hit markets like Florida, markets like Miami, Tampa, Florida, Orlando, markets like Phoenix and some parts of California have had a significant number of investors that have come into the market and really addressed the overhang of foreclosed homes that were sitting on the market. So that many of these markets now have realtors reporting that the new home listings, both new homes and existing homes, have multiple bids on whatever is available on the market. So in the first quarter, we're actually measuring that in markets like Phoenix are showing home price appreciation. No more declines, but actually appreciation. It's not widespread. We're not expecting a hockey stick recovery, but we're expecting about a 14% improvement in new single-family starts in 2012. A little bit bigger improvement in multifamily starts, and we're also seeing residential remodeling activity pick up as well. And the good news I can share to architects in the room is that part of the reason that home builders are seeing things improve is actually because of design. They're back to really focusing on their plans. I've heard multiple builders tell me that in the last year they have thrown out all of their plans and have started working with architects to really sell the features in the homes today that will address multi-generational housing, being together all in the same house, as well as addressing really different segments in the market to sell lifestyle, to sell livability in the plans. And I think that's really good for the industry. Kermit, what do you think?
Well, Jonathan, thank you. We are seeing more optimism out there. I think Jonathan's exactly right that finally there's growing sentiment throughout the industry that we've turned the corner and things are going to start getting better. Certainly improvement that we're seeing on the residential side of the market is encouraging for non-residential activity. Construction is a very severely cyclical industry, and so we watch cycles very closely. Rule of thumb would be that a turnaround in the residential market would generate a turnaround in the non-residential market 12 to 18 months later. we don't have that long to wait on the non-residential side, and I think we won't have to wait this long because we have a very unusual situation in the residential market, and so non-residential has been and will continue to recover on its own. But it also has a fairly steep hole to dig out of. Price declines on the residential side have been severe. 35% or so nationally from peak to trough, and we've seen comparable price declines on commercial property values. In fact, even more to some extent. The downturn started later. The downturn in prices ended later on the commercial side. It was really not until the middle of 2010, early to mid-year 2010, that we started to see some bottoming of commercial property values and some recovery. The good news on the commercial side, in contrast to the residential side, is we've seen a fair amount of price recovery already. Prices have gained back about half of what they lost during the downturn. Not so much on the residential side, where we're still hovering around the bottom and still haven't seen much in a turnaround. Our own architecture billings index that we find to be probably the best indicator of where the construction activity is headed has been sending off reasonably positive signals recently. We had a bit of a dip with the April release that came out a couple days ago, but prior to that, good solid numbers, 5 straight months of growth in our overall index, and now 8 straight months of growth, and we didn't even see a dip in April on the commercial industrial side. So we're looking to see commercial and industrial activity lead the recovery on the non-residential side, and I think it's safe to say that we're entering that recovery very, very shortly. Take a little bit longer on the institutional side, but I think we're going to see really good solid numbers in the second half of the year in terms of commercial and industrial construction. Let me end up with just a couple words about where we're going longer term, sort of beyond cycles, and I think it's important to track demographics there. And the Census Bureau is calling for good, solid population growth over the next decade. Population growth, economic growth translates into construction growth. So I think we have a good, solid future to look forward to. But I think we have to bear in mind who we're going to be designing buildings for. And a lot of the growth is going to be among aging baby boomers. What are they looking for? They're looking for seniors housing if they're moving. They're looking for aging in place retrofits if they're staying tight. They're also going to be looking for health care. Seniors population, big consumers of health care. So those are really big markets for us. And then I think the second growth way to look at is the children of baby boomers entering the workforce, renting an apartment, buying a starter home, working in an office. And so office construction also should be good, strong markets.
I think that's it.
I think we're out of town. I think we filibustered successfully here.
All right. Thanks, Kermit.
Thank you, Jonathan.